In the corrected video, this video here, this unequivocally shows that Michael Proctor walked toward the right rear area of that SUV, where the right taillight is, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And welcome back to our coverage of the retrial of the century. We are here in downtown Dedham, Massachusetts. Live studio audience with us. We've also got Joseph Krauske Jr. We've got John DePietro, Peter Ellikin, and Nick Rocco helping us out tonight. I want to take a listen to some more testimony from Sergeant Buchanan, talking again about the infamous Sallyport video.
Pause. Do you see Michael Proctor in this video?
I believe that's him, yes.
And which side, and let's start with this. Do you agree that this is the correct version of the camera angle and the SUV as it pulled into Sallyport?
This is the footage, the way that is depicted right now is very accurately very accurately represents what I remember from being there.
In fact, this side of the vehicle that we're looking at that's closest to us, that I'm highlighting on the screen to your right, that is in fact the driver's side of the vehicle, not the passenger side of the vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The far side over here would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which area is Michael Proctor walking to? The left rear or the right rear in this footage?
It appears if that's him, he's walking to the right rear of the vehicle.
Can we play this forward? And do you see Mr. Proctor's head above the SUV?
Yes.
And watch him as the tow truck driver walks by. Did he appear to move?
He shifted weight, yes.
And it appears that there's another person that showed up in the footage, an anomaly of some sort, walking off screen left to right. Is that right?
That's what it appears, yes.
Is Mr. Proctor still at the right rear taillight area?
He's in that general vicinity, yes.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. A little bit further. Pause. Can you see anything in his hand? And let me just ask it closed in. Do you see the portfolio in his hand?
It would not be unlikely that it's there, but I can't tell exactly what it is in his hand.
Let's play it forward. Do you see anything in his hand now as his arm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it appear to be consistent with the black portfolio that we saw earlier?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes.
The Sallyport video, there it is. Take it for what it's worth. It's a big part of the defense. You're talking about opportunity for everything that the defense is alleging here. But right now, as I mentioned, we've got a live studio audience here in Dedham, Massachusetts. Matt Johnson is with them. Matt, questions and comments tonight. What do we got?
All right, we already have a few people lining up, and these are folks that know this case inside and out like you at home. And like you at home, they have a lot of questions. So I have Nicole here, Vinnie. She's from Hudson, who's just outside of Boston. You watched the first trial. What is your question for Vinnie or the panel?
I have a question for the attorneys. So, we saw Yuri a lot more this week than we did last year. We learned a little bit about him, and we learned that this week is a big week for him. So he's 10 years with MSP, I think Friday, but also congratulations because he landed himself on the Brady list this week as of this morning. So my question is, who would put someone on the Brady list, and what are the implications for that?
So I guess I can answer that. Are you suggesting that?
Wait, first tell us what the Brady list is.
Sure, the Brady list in Massachusetts is a list that is required to be maintained by every district attorney's office throughout the Commonwealth. If there are sustained allegations made against an investigating officer, if there is prior misconduct that has not just been alleged but sustained, district attorneys and their officers and their assistant district attorneys are required to disclose that, not just to the public on a public list, the post-commission list, but also to specific attorneys in specific cases. I don't really understand the import of your question, whether or not someone on the Brady list can still continue to function and operate as a police officer.
Well, what would be the implications going forward for Buchanan with now being included on the Brady list?
So it's really a question of degree, right? As I understand, Buchanan, like a lot of the state troopers in this case, was vetted probably more than any state trooper in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And the only allegation that was sustained against Buchanan is that he was on a text thread chain where Proctor had said some things or texted some things that were not professional. But the flip side of that is through that thorough investigation and vetting, there's not a single allegation or sustained allegation that Buchanan planted evidence, conspired to frame someone, lied under oath, or otherwise conducted any malfeasance or engaged in any malfeasance or misconduct. So that actually, look, there's a little blemish in there.
You're saying not a big deal.
But that's not a... In this case, that finding not a big deal.
I think, yeah, even if they don't have him doing something illegal, what's come out again and again in this second trial is that he's done all kinds of shoddy police work, and he's also trying to defend what went on. I mean, I was so surprised that he kept defending Proctor when they kept asking him about Proctor, and when they said, oh, so you said he was a utmost professionalism, and you gave him this shining report and said, you know, integrity, et cetera. And instead of backing off, and maybe he would have been more honest and appealing to the jury if he said, yeah, you know, I was wrong on that. I see he did some things that I wouldn't have done. But instead, he sort of, you know, gets in bed with the guy.
How do you see these two? We have Proctor and Buchanan next to each other. Nick, do you see them as equally, what's the word I'm looking for? Culpable in all of this? Or do you see Proctor more culpable?
There's a reason why we don't see Michael Proctor on the stand, right? Hank Brennan is petrified to call him because he is going to single-handedly destroy the Commonwealth's case in theory. He had his name on every single piece of paper that you could have your name on as the lead investigator. He's being accused of planting the taillight. He is the one that is behind the taillight with 42 minutes missing. If that camera was not missing, the footage was not missing in the Sallyport, case closed, it would have shown the taillight in the condition it was. Michael Proctor didn't take any pictures. Yuri Buchanan didn't take any pictures of the supposed murder weapon. Nobody took pictures of it. But there is one honest cop in this whole situation, and that's the Dighton police officer, Nicholas Barros, and we'll hear from him this trial.
The sergeant did well with the jury, and him doing the text messages, reading both Karen and Brian Higgins, he seemed like a good sport. He finished very strong.
So let's go to, you gotta go back to Matt. I hate to cut off Joseph Krasky Jr., but sometimes you have to. just for time purposes. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, and I will also say with Buchanan, he said on the stand that he actually had to give 5 vacation days. He was reprimanded during this investigation. But I also have Grace with me. Where are you from? And you also watched Trial 1. What's your question for our panel?
I'm from Danvers. My question is sort of a general comment and a question about Chloe. She's not mentioned very often. I'm wondering why, if she was there at the house, she wasn't barking her head off, as the neighbor you interviewed had a lot to say about her. And where do you think she is? I heard rumors that the prosecution was bringing in a mold of her teeth or her mouth. Have you heard anything like that? And can we expect to see anything with regard to Chloe?
Well, they offered to do it. The prosecution offered to bring it in and have the defense witness measure up her jaw. The defense declined to do that. Now, keep in mind, it was a howling night, and there's still no evidence. I know some people want to focus on the dog. No dog DNA. Notice his neck wasn't bitten. Notice his leg wasn't bitten if he was attacked. But the bottom line is John O'Keefe never made it inside that house.
First off, there's no dog DNA because Michael Proctor is the one who swabbed his shirt. They didn't even swab his arm. They sent 2 Q-tips to the lab. He could have swabbed any part of that shirt. That's number 1. Number 2, the defense did not get invited to go to Vermont. The state police went out to Vermont, okay? In the report, the defense team was told that Mary, this person, you know, by the name of Mary, received this dog. And then that person, Mary, gave the dog to somebody else who renamed it Cora. There's no transfer papers. There's no documents to prove that that German Shepherd is actually Chloe. And then Jen McCabe goes upstairs. This dog doesn't bark, doesn't make a peep. The dog most likely wasn't there. It was probably taken out that night or night before. But listen,
And this isn't a lawyer comment. This is a dog lover comment. Who keeps a dog for 6 or 7 years and then suddenly rehomes it and gets rid of it? It's always a part of the family.
Okay, so this is one of those salacious allegations that was made against the Alberts, like many of the allegations. The dog was buried under the swimming pool, and then the swimming pool was filled in. No, the dog lives. If you watch the pretrial litigation, the Commonwealth said on the record that they would make the dog available for an expert of their own. The defense declined to do so after crying about it for a year that they had no access to the dog. Let me finish. Obviously, when the state police were doing their investigation, and investigations are ongoing, they had to go out and vet and make sure it was the right dog, and I'm sure it probably has a chip in it. Once they were satisfied that it was the right dog and they issued that report, they then made it available for Dr. Russell or any expert of their choosing to go and conduct any type of in-person measurements and testing, forensic testing they wanted to, and they declined. But the dog lives. It was just another ugly rumor lodged against people that turned out to be not true.
you have zero proof that that's the real dog. There's zero proof.
Well, they do. If you read the reports, it's chipped. They can validate it's a dog. You don't think
No,
that
we can
they're
validate it's a dog. We all know it's a dog.
You don't think they're going to bring in a mold of a dog that this expert that they have hasn't validated he's working with the exact dog? Of
But the
course they
expert
did.
said it was a dog,
But the dog's
though.
alive.
But I haven't heard many people say the dog was not alive, but you had a very, very credible expert saying that those were dog bites. And as anybody can see, I think the public can see, it does not look like you got bumped by a car and you've got all those numerous scratches there on your arm that suddenly you hit the arm and you fly through the air 30 feet when your torso was just fine and you just flew through the air like that.
Let's do this. We have another question and comment. Matt?
Yeah, that's right. So I have Roseanne here, and you're from the Berkeley area here in Massachusetts. You also watched trial number 1. You very animated during the answers right there. But what is on the top of your mind right now?
So I do want to ask both of the attorneys, what are your thoughts on all of the coincidences? And the reason why I say coincidences in plural is because there are so many. Starting with the dog again, the dog being gone at 6 in the morning seems very strange to me. The fact that Brian Albert and Brian Higgins' phones both happen to be destroyed and gone and changed their numbers. Let's see, the fact that the taillights didn't show up until February. The fact that Chief Berkowitz supposedly found the taillight and not the owners of the house who live there and had multiple opportunities to be out in their yard and find taillight. Let's see, there's actually many, but those are to name a few. What are your thoughts on, let me add one more. The fact that they sold their house for $50,000 under asking price within a short period of time, selling a home in a market that was booming. Instead, they decided to take a loss on their home. That seems like way too many coincidences for me from somebody who's supposed to be completely innocent. Let me add one more to the mix. Why didn't Brian Albert come out of his house, a first responder? The house is 30 feet from the lawn. I live in the same exact kind of house. My house is 75 feet from where John O'Keefe's body would be. I absolutely would have heard fire trucks, fire ambulances. I don't care how soundly I sleep. Okay.
Vinny? No, that was a lot. All right, so, Vinny?
10 seconds. 10 seconds each.
The coincidences that should concern you is the woman driving the car last seen with John O'Keefe had pieces of her taillight, a glass, a straw, a hat, and a sneaker found in the location where she said he would be found. His health data from his phone had only walked
Peter.
for 20
All right,
seconds.
this is the bottom line. You hit it on the head. This is what we call reasonable doubt.
Exactly.
When a jury hears
All right.
all this, point at
Great job. Great job by everyone. Nick Rocco, Peter Ellikin, John DePietro, Joseph Krowski Jr. Great job. Studio audience is staying here. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight.